What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is rules former presidents have to follow. So obviously when they become a president, they've got so many rules they have to follow, don't they? But they're the president of the United States. It makes sense. But interesting, they've got to follow rules after.
That's weird.
But I guess it makes sense they've got to uphold a standard. But then I kind of think if you're not committing the law, then you technically do have a standard.
Yeah, and if you're not president anymore, then why do you have to?
You're not on the job anymore. That is quite an interesting one. Let us know in the comments why. And the first one, I can see it at the bottom. I can literally see it on the screen. It says no driving.
But he's definitely driving.
He's definitely driving. So that's something I don't
get. Is that Biden?
No, that's not Biden. That is Bill Clinton, isn't it?
Okay.
Is it? No, that might be Bush.
I don't know. We'll find out in a minute.
No, that's Bush. Because Bush.
I said Bush.
Wait. No, that's Bush. Right. Quickly searching on the phone. Oh, you guys are gonna absolutely roast us.
I feel like.
I think it's Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's George Bush, isn't it? Yeah, that's George Bush.
I was right then, second time.
Because he was the 9/11 one. And that's why I recognise his face when he does the speech of the wreckage of 9/11. So you were right second time.
Who did I say first?
You said Biden, who
then
was the current president. So
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that one's bad.
I was thinking, is this a clip then from before when he was just vice president? That's what
I was okay, got it, yeah.
I said Bush.
You did say Bush eventually. And then I backed you up eventually.
Hey, they're not my presidents. So
we apologise, guys. But it's just no driving. He is driving, you make a very good point. And also, I understand why you're president not driving. But it's mad you not being able to drive after.
Well, we don't know. We haven't watched the video.
But it says no driving.
But he's definitely driving.
Let's find out. Smash that button, smash the subscribe button. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's find out something new. What we got?
Just because you were once the commander-in-chief, that doesn't mean you can now do whatever you want. From driving cars to using cell phones, these are the rules that former presidents have to follow.
Using cell phones?
One of the greatest perks of being president is not having to deal with traffic every day. For one thing, you've got drivers who can take you anywhere you need to go.
Okay.
And for another, the Secret Service can block off traffic for you to ensure your security.
Yeah.
It's no fun for anyone else on the road, but hey, you're the president, and you have important things to do. There is a downside, though. Once a president's term is over, they can never drive a car on an open road again.
What?
The reason is because of the lifetime Secret Service detail that all ex-presidents get. After all, one of the least safe places you can be is on the road, and that's just under normal circumstances.
Oh, wow.
Add in that ex-presidents are always a target, and things get even hairier. So, to ensure their safety, they're not allowed to hit the road. As George W. Bush explained to Jay Leno, he's only allowed to drive on his own private property, far from any reckless drivers or people who wish him harm. He must be driven everywhere by Secret Service agents trained in evasive and defensive driving maneuvers. The rule was instituted after John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. Lyndon B. Johnson was, to date, the last president to drive on public roads.
Oh, wow. There we go.
One of a president's most important duties is to be aware of it.
Imagine if you had like 4 or 5 presidents. I know you are normally quite old when you become a president, but if you had 4 or 5 who were still alive, it's a lot of Secret Service agents you're going to need.
They've got Biden now.
Yeah, Obama's still alive.
Obama's still alive. The Clintons still alive.
I assume so.
Bush is still alive?
I don't know. I assume so. Yeah, I assume
so. 5 at least.
I assume he is. Yeah, that's a lot of Secret Service agents. Do they have to fly out to him to then drive him?
Yeah, imagine if you went on holiday, you just need to take a Secret Service with you.
Yeah, they got them, haven't they? Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Any potential threats to the security of the United States. These briefings are carried out constantly throughout a president's tenure, even multiple times a day if necessary, because the world is always changing and threats can come up unexpectedly. You'd think former presidents would no longer need to be bothered about such things since they're retired from the job and are now private citizens, but you'd be wrong. They continue to receive national security updates for the rest of their lives.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily because they're expected to actively do anything about them, but just in case they have advice they can offer the current administration, or if they get asked about the situation by the press.
So they get the same
information. Even if being president
Yeah.
isn't their job anymore, they still need constant updates about what's going on. This actually became newsworthy in 2018 when President Donald Trump allegedly threatened to revoke Barack Obama's access to national security briefings. According to Newsweek, President Trump was rumored to be unaware that former presidents received the briefings and had to be informed that this was normal and nothing to be concerned about.
Wow.
Though Trump later said these rumors were untrue. Whether or not it really happened, the story shined a light on just what kind of access ex-presidents have to day-to-day information
Yeah, everyone got more
about the country's
information about
security.
it.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that everyone who serves as president gets a library named after them when they leave office?
To
There's a
that?
good reason for this. It's a law. The
What?
1955 Presidential Libraries Act established that each president would oversee the creation of a library in their name.
Oh, so
While
they
having a
build one.
library
Wow.
named after yourself is definitely a cool perk, presidential libraries are a little different. They contain every non-classified word a president has written in office, even the stuff that may not be so good, such as Bill Clinton's library in Little Rock, Arkansas, which features information about his impeachment scandal. They're not allowed to keep
wow.
certain materials out of their libraries, as anything created during a president's term is legally considered to be public property. This
Wow.
was
Oh my
decided
God,
after
so
Richard
literally
Nixon.
it's just like a building of history of their turn.
Yeah.
That is quite cool, actually.
That is quite cool.
But I mean, it must cost to make one and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that is actually quite cool.
That is quite cool.
Like, you can just walk into Obama's and just, oh yeah, you did
Yeah.
that. Do you know what I mean?
That is quite
That is
cool.
quite cool.
And attempted to leave out materials regarding the Watergate scandal.
The lights are off and they must be looking for a fuse box or something because them flashlights, they're keeping me awake.
The individual presidents do have some control over how much a certain subject is featured, though. For example, George W. Bush's library in Dallas, Texas, does mention his invasion of Iraq, but instead of shying away from it, the materials on display defend his decision to go to war. We all assume that the government is listening to everything we do these days, especially after numerous scandals have come up in the last 2 decades where the government was caught doing exactly that by surveilling U.S. citizens without a warrant.
Okay.
The intelligence community has since tried to clean up its image by being more transparent about this, and it now requires warrants in many situations. However, the Secret Service often gets exceptions to these rules in
Yeah, it
cases
can hear
related to the
everything.
security of current and former presidents. For example, according to The Hill, the Secret Service got an exception to warrant laws regarding so-called stingray devices that can monitor the location of cell phones,
Wow.
with the Department of Homeland Security arguing it was impractical to require them to obtain warrants to monitor the president and other important individuals. While this particular device doesn't monitor the contents of communications passed by the phones, this is just one of many techniques that law enforcement can use for surveillance.
I'm sure we've
And the
got a
Secret
lot of
Service has
techniques.
pretty sweeping jurisdiction
they
over
do.
keeping former presidents safe, whether that's from threatening phone calls, suspicious tweets, or anything in between. Routinely monitoring a president or former president's communications is an invasive but necessary activity the Secret Service has to undertake to ensure the security of those they are sworn to protect. Former presidents don't have much privacy, and those snoopy Secret Service agents even get to paw through their mail. An ex-president's regular old snail mail and packages must be examined by agents before they can be delivered. That may sound like overkill, but they've caught several dangerous
does make sense.
deliveries
Yeah,
by
it does
doing
make
this,
sense.
even as recently as 2018. According to Bloomberg Law, the Secret Service successfully identified explosives en route to
Wow.
former presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, among other VIP
Multiple.
targets. And it's not just a
Wow.
random
Crazy.
agent shuffling through and opening the ex-president's mail on the way back from their mailbox. It's all screened off-site by trained security staff with knowledge of dealing with explosives, dangerous chemicals, and so on. Every mail
Wow.
piece is meticulously examined for any possible threats to the former
It
president.
makes sense, I guess.
What's more, the Secret Service agents aren't the only ones keeping an eye on ex-presidential mail. The United States Postal Service also gets in on the act, as they monitor any suspicious packages sent through the mail, no matter who they're going to,
Yeah.
through a program
That's
called
true.
Dangerous Mail Investigations, which sounds like a show that CBS will be picking up any day now.
It's my opinion that it is utter nonsense.
Every so often, you just need some alone time. People take walks, seek out a quiet room, or whatever they need to find a little peace and quiet. If this is you, becoming president might be a bad idea because you're literally never alone, and that continues even after you've left office.
That's
Secret
mad,
Service
isn't it?
detail is a
Like,
24/7
Never
thing.
having a minute alone.
Never having a minute alone. I mean, it must be an awesome job to have, a stressful job, but an awesome one to have. Something to be like, oh my god, this is incredible. And during it, incredible. And you expect that. I didn't really think about the dangers of a president after. I didn't really think about that.
No, I didn't.
It makes sense for those dangers,
Yeah.
I guess. But the fact that their life is so controlled after as
Yeah.
well. You literally, if you go, maybe that's why a lot of people are older, because it's like not life over, but it's very controlled after that.
Very controlled of. Yeah,
'Cause it-
it's, you can't do what you want.
I feel like a lot of these people are already rich before they go in anyway, so it's not like they're getting into it, oh, they're now made for
Yeah.
life or whatever. They've already got whatever they want, and then they go into it, and now it's you're never alone. That's quite mad, isn't it?
Crazy.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
And former Secret Service agent Jonathan Wackrow described presidential protection to NBC News as, quote, the most intrusive thing that anyone could ever experience.
Wow.
Basically, you're constantly surrounded by people you barely know, and
That's
since
mad, isn't
agents
it?
can
Yeah.
be swapped out or moved around, ex-presidents are likely to be surrounded by strangers for the rest of their lives. And these agents don't take a break when things aren't going well, like when there are arguments between spouses. Agents are even with former presidents during holidays. Imagine not being able to eat Thanksgiving dinner without a bunch of people in black suits posted up nearby.
That must be
This
weird.
actually
Yeah, it must
happened to Donald Trump when he was president-elect. When he and his family sat down to holiday dinner at Mar-a-Lago, more than 150 Secret Service agents were there too, since all of his
150?
family members who were in attendance had Secret Service details of their own.
Wow.
Oh.
Being one of the most powerful individuals in the world might seem like it would include the ability to do, well, pretty much anything you want. This isn't
Is that
necessarily
like
the case.
McDonald's?
It is.
Because of that 24/7, 365-day-a-year Secret Service detail, it's hard to be spontaneous. If a regular person wants to pop down to Starbucks and get a grande French vanilla latte or whatever, they just head that way, get their coffee, and get on with their day. Due to a former president's large Secret Service detail, though, anything they want to do, even normal everyday stuff, becomes a huge undertaking. Think of something you like to do every day, like taking a walk or going out for dinner. Now imagine you have to do that thing with an entourage of strangers disrupting everyone around you for the rest of your life. For
the rest
example,
of your life is
President
mad,
Barack
isn't
it?
Obama made a Starbucks run while he was still in office, and it ended up with the Secret Service blocking off much of the street and moving pedestrians away from the president.
Wow.
The president even asked the Secret Service to give him a little space, just a small indicator of how frustrating constant security must be. Speaking of President Obama, he was a pretty notorious fan of playing games of pickup basketball, something he spent a lot of time doing while in private life and as a senator. Once he became president, though, the Secret Service told him that they needed 4 hours' notice before such a game, which President
That's not
Obama
too
wasn't
bad.
terribly happy about, according to NBC News.
It's better than nothing.
So,
Yeah.
what's a former president to do if they get sick of all these rules and stipulations they have to follow?
Ooh, opt it
Why
out.
even be president if you don't get to spend your retirement years doing whatever you feel like, right? Well, there is a way they can get out of having to deal with all this and go back to how things were before they took office, by declining the Secret Service detail.
Oh, but can decline
As it turns
eh?
out, this is an actual option.
Oh, wow.
The Secret Service only protects those who accept the protection. If a former president or anyone else with security detail waives those protections, they're free to accept responsibility for their own safety and security, or maybe hire their own private security that might be willing to let them do more things without restrictions. Former President Richard Nixon actually did this in his later years, though the reason he gave was to save the government some money, according to the New York Times. Then, in 2017, President Trump's son, Donald Jr., willingly declined Secret Service protection, as reported by the Times, citing privacy as his reason for doing so. While the Secret Service heavily discourages protectees from choosing to do this, it's absolutely an option if a president
I like
ever
that.
wants
I like
to
this
drive
an
their own
option.
car again.
It should be
Check
an
out
option.
one of our newest
Definitely.
videos right here.
It's like if anything happens to you, you kind of it's on you.
It's
But-
on you, and
but-
it must be weird having 4 years of that constantly feeling safe, constantly to then be like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want you anymore, man. But
Yeah, but it's your personal choice.
personal choice, and like I say, if you want to be able to just do some spontaneously and run the risk, then it's up to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Smash that button, guys. Smash the subscribe and watch the video.
Have a fantastic
And we'll
day.
see you legends in the next one. Peace.